Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to start with our topic number 2, that is morphology of reproductive parts. We know that the plant body is divided into two parts, that is vegetative as well as reproductive. So reproductive parts includes mainly inflorescence, flower and fruits. So we are going to study this topic in 3 points. First of all, we will discuss regarding inflorescence, then flower and then fruit. So let's start with the inflorescence. See, inflorescence is an arrangement of flower on common axis or peduncle. The lower as well as higher plants have an inherent capacity to reproduce. The lower plants generally reproduce vegetatively or asexually by the formation of various types of spores, conidia, etc. They also reproduce sexually, but it is of primitive type. Among higher plants, cryptogams never produce flower. Flower formation is the main character of angiosperms. The seed-bearing plant, that is spermatophytes, bears very attractive and colorful flowers, and which after pollination and fertilization produces fruits and seeds. Now, the flowers are usually formed after completion of vegetative growth, either on the axillary branches or on the main branch of the stem. Sometimes the apical meristem is used for the development of flower. The flower may be formed in bunches, clusters, or they may be solitary. Like arrangement of leaves, the arrangement of flowers also follows some definite plan so that they are exposed to various pollinating agents. The nature of flower and inflorescence indicates the evolutionary sequence in particular family. Hence, the study of inflorescence is very much important in morphology, taxonomy, and evolution. There are different views regarding primitive and advanced nature of inflorescence, and according to some, dichiasal or biparous cyme is primitive, while others consider that panicle inflorescence is primitive. So, we can define inflorescence as the inflorescence is the specialized branch of a plant bearing a group of flowers, or it can be defined as arrangement of flower on floral axis of a plant, and the types of inflorescence are classified on the basis of mode of branching. So here in this slide, the different parts of inflorescence are shown. That is inflorescence, which is a arrangement of flower in particular stalk or in a particular axis, that is called as a peduncle, main supporting stalk of inflorescence. Later, bract, cluster or bract, called as involucre. On this main axis peduncle, there is a pedicel, that is flower stalk to each flower, and there is a special arrangement of flower on this central stalk, which we call peduncle. So depending on the branching mode of branching, the inflorescence are divided into two types, mainly into two types. First one, that is racemose inflorescence, and secondly cymose inflorescence. Now let's discuss regarding racemose inflorescence. It is also called as indeterminate inflorescence because the growth of peduncle, that is the main axis on which flowers are arranged, is indefinite and never terminate by the flowers. The flowers are arranged in a acropetal succession, that is the oldest flower at the base while the youngest flower at the apex of the peduncle. For example, which is found in brassica, that is mustard. The mode of opening of flower is also centripetal. Racemose inflorescence are again classified on the basis of nature of main axis, that is peduncle. So on the basis of nature of peduncle, the racemose is again divided into mainly three types. Main axis is elongated, main axis is shortened, and main axis become flattened, concave or convex. So let's see the different types of racemose depending on the nature of axis. First, that is main axis elongated. The racemose inflorescence with the main axis elongated is further divided into different types, that is simple raceme, compound raceme, spike, compound spike, spadix and compound spadix. So let's start with the main axis elongated. These are the characters of striking characters of racemose inflorescence. Now, first type of inflorescence, that is simple raceme. The main axis, that is peduncle, in this case is elongated and it bear many pedicellate, bracteate or ebracteate flowers, and the lower flowers have long pedicel than the upper ones. The example of simple raceme is brassica. Next, that is compound raceme or compound panicle. The main axis, that is peduncle of this raceme, is branched and develop lateral branches in acropetal succession. Acropetal succession, that is older at the base and new or younger at the apex. The lateral branches bear pedicellate flowers, for example Delonix or Cassia or Cisalpinia. So this is the example of compound racemose. Now let's see next type of racemose inflorescence in which the main axis is elongated, that is spike type of inflorescence. In a spike type of inflorescence, the main axis is elongated and the flowers are sessile and bracteate. That means the flower do not have stalk. So there are also two types of spike inflorescence. First one, simple spike. Here the main axis is branched and bearing sessile flowers in acropetal succession. For example, polyanthus or gladiolus, as shown in this picture. Next one, that is compound spike. In this type, the main axis is branched and bear sessile bracteate flowers in acropetal succession. For example, wheat, rice or different types of grasses. Next, that is catkin type of inflorescence. This is a spike like inflorescence in which the flowers do not have pedicel and the main axis is elongated and unbranched, which is as shown in the figure. Here a catkin has only male or female flowers. They occur in many wood trees such as hazelnut and the willow. Next type of racemose inflorescence is spadix. So let's see what is meant by simple spadix. Here this is a modified type of spike inflorescence in which the peduncle is thick, stout and fleshy and the flowers are unisexual and sessile, borne on the same axis. Usually peduncle bears the upper male, lower female and the middle sterile flowers, and the whole inflorescence is covered by a large fleshy bract known as spathe. The example is arum, or the example of another type of mixed spadix is the banana. You might have seen such type of flowers which are used for ornamentation in indoor or as well as outdoor plant, that is arum. Next type, that is mixed spadix. In banana, spadic inflorescence is very large. Each node of floral axis bear fleshy and colored spathe and it is called as mixed spadix. So this is the example of mixed spadic, that is banana flower, banana inflorescence in which a large spathe like structure or large bract is produced, and which consists of the flowers, that is male flower, female flower, and sterile flowers also. Next, the compound spadix. Look at the picture. This is the picture of coconut. This inflorescence shows the coconut inflorescence, which is of a compound spadix type. Here the main axis is branched and the whole inflorescence is covered by a woody spathe. The large woody bract-like structure that is called as a spathe is present over this inflorescence for the protection purpose. So this is all about the spadix type of inflorescence, that is simple spadix, mixed spadix, and compound spadix. Now another type of racemose inflorescence on the basis of modification of main axis, that is main axis shortened. In this, the first type is umbel type of inflorescence, in which all pedicels are of the same length and arise from the same point, as shown in the figure. In simple umbel, the main axis of inflorescence is shortened. The flowers are pedicellate. A group of pedicellate flowers appears to arise from the same point. The pedicels are of the same length, and therefore the flowers at the top are also at the same level. And in an umbel, the younger flowers are present in the center so that the whole inflorescence look like umbrella. And in an umbel, there is always a whorl of bracts forming an involucre, and each flower develops from an axil of bract. For example, hydrocotyl or hydrocotyl. Next, that is compound umbel. Here, when the peduncle of umbellate inflorescence produce lateral branches and these branches bear umbels, then such an inflorescence is known as compound umbel. For example, we found this type of condition in coriander or in fennel. So this is the diagrammatic representation of compound umbel, showing a different parts, that is peduncle, involucre or the whorl of bracts, ray and bractlates, as well as umbellate flower and with their pedicel. Next, type of racemose inflorescence, that is third type, main axis flattened, or we can call it as a head or capitulum type of inflorescence. Now, in this there are also two types, that is simple and compound capitulum. In case of simple capitulum or simple head type of inflorescence, this is the characteristic inflorescence of family Asteraceae, in which the main axis is flattened to form more or less convex receptacle on which the ray and disc florets are arranged in a centripetal order. The ray florets are arranged on periphery of the receptacle, while the disc floret occupy the inner portion of the receptacle, and each floret has its own scaly bract at its base, and the base of receptacle is surrounded by a whorl of green bracts known as involucre. And due to this structural arrangement, the whole inflorescence looks like a single flower. And the ray florets may be unisexual, that is female, or bisexual, but disc florets are always bisexual, and which develops or bears the seeds. The best example of this head type of inflorescence is the sunflower. Or we found this type of inflorescence in Tridex procumbens also. Another type of inflorescence, that is compound capitulum or compound head type of inflorescence, is found in echinops, in which In this capitulum inflorescence, the main axis is branched and several capitula or heads are included within the same involucre. So this is the example of compound type of capitulum or head type of inflorescence. So this is all about the racemose type of inflorescence in which there are three types, that is main axis elongated, shortened and main axis flattened or convex or concave. In main axis elongated, we have again discussed regarding simple three types, that is simple raceme, compound raceme, spike and spadix. In case of main axis shortened, we have discussed regarding two types, that is simple umbel and compound umbel. And in last, that is main axis flattened, there are again two types, that is simple capitulum or simple head type of inflorescence or compound capitulum. So this is all about racemose type of inflorescence.